Mangoba, two officials already being probed for tender corruption in Gauteng and some companies facing criminal charges. What can you tell us so far?
Well, certainly the SIU is saying that they're making inroads in terms of that investigation into the PPE tender scandal, especially here in Gauteng. They've told us this morning that they are now probing over 160 companies, 164 to be exact there, Murena. And these are the companies that are believed to be linked to this tender scandal. So these are companies that have benefited or received irregular contracts from the department. We do know that yesterday, two officials, senior officials that is from the Department of Health, were also suspended, and in fact one of them was suspended yesterday, the other one had already resigned. So we're talking of high-ranking officials. This is the Chief Financial Officer, Kabelo Lefwenya, who joined the department in February 2018, who had been praised for doing good work in the department, but she's now facing these charges and possibly even criminal charges, according to Premier David Makura. So the other one being Tandipino, who's also a Chief Director in Supply Chain Management in the department. Those are the two officials that have been fingered so far in this corruption. The Premier saying that they played a central part in actually enabling this grand-scale corruption in the province. In terms of the companies, the SIU has already indicated that there are 3 companies that they have already opened criminal charges for, and in terms of those other companies that are being looked into, that number has now gone up to 164. It was at 90 when we started, and then it moved to 102. So they've now confirmed that, in fact, there are 164 cases being looked into this matter. But let's take a listen to what the spokesperson of the SIU, Keza Khanyago, had to say on this.
We have opened a criminal case against 3 companies for now, and we are still continuing with this process. As we speak, we are looking at more companies. You remember when we started, it was around about 1991, and now we are talking about companies that we're looking at in the Gauteng one, and the number I think at the moment is about 164.
In terms of the national picture now, Mangoba, what do we know so far about the investigations?
Well, Morena, the SIU indicating to us that they are investigating a number of municipalities, also government departments nationally. So as far as the count is concerned, I think they're looking at about 26 cases nationally. And so these will be provincial government departments, these will be municipality at the different provinces. So in terms of Gauteng, there is only one probe, and that probe relates to the tender PPE scandal at the health department. But when you look at other provinces, like the Eastern Cape, for example, there are 7 investigations that are going on in that province, at the Nelson Mandela Municipality Bay, for example, also at some of the government departments, which include the health department and also the education department in that province. So there are varying investigation, and the scope really, what they're saying at this point is that they'll be looking at the tender processes, the awarding of contracts, just the processes of procurement with regards to these companies. And we also do understand that indeed nationally there are also investigations that have been carried out, one of them being the fraud in the UIF. Also we speak of investigations in the education department, the defense force, and also public works. So those are some of the investigations that they are currently looking into. But let's take a listen again to Keza Khanyago explaining really what it is that they're looking for.
We are looking at each and every company that did business, and we want to purely check whether the appointment was done in accordance with the procurement processes. We also want to check whether their pricing was done in line with the treasury regulations that were put in place, the emergency regulations that were put in place. Therefore, it is not up to us to be saying this is about this person or that person, because I always say that we do not investigate people or companies, we investigate processes.
Now, Mangoba, naturally what people would expect is action. They want to see those linked to this being exposed and taken to task, heads rolling, if one might say. So what sort of pressure does this now put on President Cyril Ramaphosa to act?
Well, a lot of pressure, Muren, as you understand that in South Africa, corruption is viewed by many as a very serious matter. So there has been allegations that have been leveled previously against some of the politicians, but we've seen sort of a culture of impunity in South Africa where many of those politicians, no action is taken against. In fact, some of those ministers being given other responsibilities despite the serious allegations that they're facing. There's also been complaints regarding the lack of action on the state capture inquiry and some of the allegations that have come out of that. So there's certainly a lot of pressure on the president to act on this, given the fact that already there is COSATU as well as Nehau that are also asking him to act decisively on this matter. But certainly, this is a matter that is likely to be judged on. His administration is likely to be judged on. But is it enough what he's doing right now? Let's take a listen. I spoke earlier on to Karima Brown, a political analyst, on this matter in particular.
We're not going to judge President Ramaphosa on how he manages the factions in the African National Congress. We're going to judge him on what he does with the power that he has now in the African National Congress as president and in the state as the first citizen of this country. He needs to act. We are not interested in politicians who are maneuvering so that they can extend their terms in office. We are interested in politicians who are going to make good on the mandate on which they were elected. And Nasrec was held, and Cyril Ramaphosa came in because he promised a new dawn. So we need to see the results of that new dawn. He requested the country, he said, we must answer the call to Mamina. How can we be sent if we don't know where we are being sent, what we are being sent for?
That was our reporter, Mangoba Mkhunu.